This looks like a pretty nice essence. Oh f***. Me and my team farmed 1000 maps with Essence, and today I'm going to reveal all the best farming strategies that we found and the unpredictable noob traps you don't want to fall for. So let's start from the beginning, explaining all the secrets and little known facts about this league mechanic. First off, essences are classified by tiers and groups. This is especially important to understand how to use the remnants of corruption. As you probably know, remnants are special types of essences that can be used on other imprisoned monsters to obtain 4 possible outcomes. The first outcome monsters are released is absolutely useless and can also be pretty dangerous. The next one is add an additional essence, which is also pretty bad because the only essences you can possibly get are Weeping, Wailing and Screaming. The good ones are upgrade tier, which can bring your essences from Screaming to Shrieking and from Shrieking to Deafening. Finally, we got upgrade group, which can bring your essences from one group to the next one, for example, from group B to group C. This is especially useful if you want to get group F essences, as we will see in a moment. So the question is, how and when should we use this remnant of corruption? They are pretty expensive in League. They are about 2.7, 2.8 Chaos Orbs. They are even more expensive in Standard League. They can reach up to 4, 5 Chaos Orbs. That's a lot. So the way you use your Remnants of Corruption can make a substantial difference on your profit per hour. The essences that you always want to corrupt are those belonging to Group E, which will be Scorn, Envy, Misery and Dread, basically the purple ones. The point is that if you get lucky, you can upgrade the group of these essences and go to Group F, which will be Insanity, Horror, Delirium and Hysteria. These are tier 8 essences that are very sought after in the market. They are very expensive, especially in bulk. Another case in which you want to upgrade your essences is when you have some Screaming and Shrieking essences in the same imprisoned monster. And that's because with the passive notable Crystal Resonance, monsters imprisoned by a Shrieking essence will be duplicated. So the idea is that if you can upgrade the tier of Screaming and Shrieking essences inside your imprisoned monster, those will become Shrieking and Deafening. So the Deafening essences will be duplicated along with the Shrieking ones. So to make things a little easier, I've provided a summary here with my personal recommendations. Purple essences of any tier you should always corrupt no matter what. Screaming only, you do not corrupt. One Shrieking, you do not corrupt as well. If you have one Screaming plus one Shrieking, that's different because Crystal Resonance will apply and I recommend for you to corrupt the essence. Finally, if you have 2 Shrieking essences, personally I would not corrupt this one because Crystal Resonance is not applying when you upgrade the tier of your essences. In this case, you would get 2 Deafening essences, but those Deafening essences would not be duplicated. Instead, the Shrieking essences, as they are in the image, will be duplicated even if you don't corrupt them. And this is the first noob trap of the video, because you have no idea how many people I see slamming Remnant of Corruptions on even Screaming essences. At the end of the day though, you have to check PoE Ninja prices to understand which essences are much more expensive than others. For example, we got Deafening Essence of Loathing, Deafening Essence of Contempt, which are respectively 14 and 12 Chaos Orbs. That's a lot. So let's say you get a single Shrieking Essence of Loathing or Contempt. In that case, in my opinion, you should still want to corrupt those. After this long explanation of the league mechanic, it is finally time to review the farming strategy that we're gonna run. The Atlas passive tree is very simple and it requires to allocate all of the passive notables relating to essence. Your maps contain an additional essence, 15% chance to have 3 additional essences in imprisoned monsters, Shrinking essences are duplicated and corrupting monsters cannot release them, which is good quality of life. And finally, essences found in your maps are one tier higher. A question that I've been asked a lot is whether or not you should allocate the small passives Remnant of Corruption essence chance. More of that in the farming results. To maximize the amount of essences you get, you can allocate the Keystone Stream of Consciousness. We can also get all of the extra content passive notables, so we can obtain up to 20% chance to contain an extra essence. Now, another important aspect of Essence is that it is an alt and go strategy, so your map sustain will not be great, we will not be slaying a lot of monsters. To fix that, we can add all of these item quantity small passives, the map modifier effect, and also the Shaping the World, Shaping the Skies, and Shaping the Mountains notables. Another very good fact about Shaping the Skies and Shaping the Mountains is that we kill a lot of bosses, we complete a lot of maps, so you can get a lot of free uses from special map crafting options and also from existing map crafting options. Now, this can make you spare a lot of chaos orbs, and one thing that I like to do is to allocate the 7th gate along with the 6 gateways, and that's because if you allocate that, the Shaping the Mountains notable will generate free uses for the map crafting options that are generated from the 7th gate, and not only from the map crafting options that are available in the current league. The last tech to improve map sustain is using singular focus, which will allow us to play over and over again the same good linear layout maps. As an alt and go strategy, essence farming is also good to get many master missions, and you should be increasing the likelihood to get a specific master mission. My favorite is Kirak missions. You can get up to 10% chance to grant an additional Kirak mission on map completion if you get all of these small passives and the main notable here. Kirak missions are especially good because whenever you speak with Commander's Kirak, you can select some maps to buy, and whenever you play an Atlas mission, any of those, you can refresh the shop from Kirak and obtain new stuff. For example, here we have the signature modifier. These maps modifiers to quantity of items found also apply to rarity, which is very good for magic find. You can find all sort of implicits, including 3 additional essences implicit, which is good for this strategy. Finally, we're getting the Eater of World influence to farm this Screaming invitation. With the Etched by Acid notable will make it a little bit faster. Your favorite maps should be linear and connected to each other so that you can sustain them better. In this league, in 3.22, you can run Beach and Strand map. Speaking about maps, another very good aspect of essence farming is that the essence amount is not affected in any way by tier of maps and rarity of maps. So you can run T1 normal maps and have the exact same loot that you would have by running T16 rare maps. There are only a couple issues though. First, if you run T1 maps, you can't really farm the Screaming invitation from the Eater of World or the Incandescent invitation from the Searing Exarch, which is quite a bit of profit. And on the other side, if you run normal maps instead of rare, you are definitely not going to sustain your map pool. When it comes to master missions, we have very interesting synergy with Einhar and with Nico. If you want to go with Nico, you can allocate Pact with Energy, which provides you with nice increased damage, which is especially useful if your build is kinda low budget, and 15% increased movement speed for each full toxic sulfate vein you touched. And this is very important because this will speed up our farming. And then you can also pick mining byproducts. Sulfate veins and chests in your maps have 10% chance to also contain an equal amount of azurite. And you can buy a lot of stuff with that azurite. You can go to the mine enchantment and just get some potent, primitive or powerful chaotic resonators, and sometimes Nico will also offer fossils. Bestiary also provides some decent synergy with Essence. Whenever you find an imprisoned monster, it has a chance to have inside a yellow beast. And guess what? if the yellow beast is imprisoned by a shrieking essence, it will also be duplicated. That's very nice in my opinion. Let's finally speak about sextants. And here comes the second noob trap of the video, so pay attention. You have the awakened sextant, which provides an additional essence, and the elevated sextant, which provides 2 additional essences. Both sextants provide 50% chance to contain a remnant of corruption, and to be honest, this is where things get complicated. The issue is that while remnant of corruptions are good and valuable, they kinda ruin your essences, because you can't corrupt an essence that is already corrupted, so you can't get access to deafening essences, to tier 8 essences. On top of that, many times when you have a remnant of corruption, the other essences along that are rather poor. They are like wailing, screaming, sometimes you even get the remnant of corruption alone. So there is a bit of a balance between the value of the remnant of corruptions and the detrimental effect that you get from having the remnant of corruptions inside essences. So I decided to make a poll inside the Magic Find Academy Discord, and I asked people whether or not they would be using the sextant when farming essences, and the answer was overwhelmingly negative. Speaking about remnants of corruption, we also have these small passives here, which provide up to 20% chance to contain a remnant of corruption inside your imprisoned monsters. And this is something I am always asked: how many of these should you allocate? 1, 2, 0? So I've recently made a poll on this topic, and as you can see, the majority of players seem to prefer running 0 small passives and some of them 2 passives. So in order to understand whether or not you should be using sextants and how many small passives for remnant chance you should allocate, me and the Magic Find Academy team ran a total of 1000 maps, testing all 9 possible variations of the essence farming strategy. So we tried no sextants with 0, 10, 20% chance for essences to contain a remnant of corruption in the passive tree, then awakened sextants getting up to a total chance of 50, 60 and 70% respectively, and then finally elevated sextant with the same method. Little extra for you guys, we ran about 70 memories of Crystal Prison, so we could compare the profit of that strategy as well. So here we are, back to the Magic Find Academy strategy guide, the big Google spreadsheet where I included all of the data that we gathered in this experiment. So let's start by reviewing the no sextant method. And as you can see, the profit is pretty good, 6 divines per hour with 0 small passives, and the profit per hour seems to lower a bit when we get 1 and 2 passive skills from the Atlas passive tree. Then let's go to the awakened sextant, and as you can see, there is a consistent increase in profit compared to the no sextant variant of the strategy, which is quite surprising when you think about it, because people are used to think that sextants are bad. It is not really the case. The awakened sextant gave us a quite consistent 1 to 2 divines per hour profit extra than what we could achieve without sextants. Then finally we have the elevated sextants, which confirm the trend of sextant being good. In fact, the elevated sextant is the best strategy to run for essence, and this is kind of weird, but when you have more small passives on the elevated sextant strategy, there seems to be a rise in profit per hour, which is quite big. You get from 6.7 divines to almost 10 divines per hour. So yes, a very profitable strategy. You should definitely run sextants, especially the elevated ones, which are completely worth it. When it comes to profitability, there are other 2 noob traps that many players fall for. The first one is that you should not always be upgrading Shrieking Essences to Deafening Essence. Now, 3 Shrieking Essence can be upgraded to a Deafening Essence, and you would expect the prices to match. You would expect that 3 Shrieking Essence have the same price of 1 Deafening Essence, right? Well, actually, that's not always the case. For example, in Ancestor League, you can see that shrinking essences are about 2 chaos each, and if you go checking the deafening essence of hatred, you get 5 chaos per 1 deafening. So there is a little discrepancy here, and you are losing profit by just selling the wrong thing. And as you can see in this poll that I made in the Magic Find Academy Discord, this is a very common mistake that can cost you a lot of divines. The other noob trap is that you don't always need to sell the low value essences. For example, here we have Deafening Essence of Fear, which is unreasonably low priced, and what we can do is simply put it into the horticrafting device and then just change the stack of essences to something else. Now the blue life force is very cheap, so there is very little opportunity cost in trying that. Let's see how it goes. We get Scorn, so that was a very nice upgrade. Next one, Dread is whatever, let's do another. Doubt, it sucks. Hatred is fine, we can keep this one. Torment is bad, Suffering is bad as well. Wrath, it is better in my opinion, we can keep this one. Wrath, okay. Contempt, it's a great one. So yes, you get the point. Before concluding this video, I want to give you guys a little extra about the Essence memory, the Einhar's memory of Crystal Prison. In the Einhar's memory of Crystal Prison, instead of fighting the usual rare monsters, you get to fight rogue exiles imprisoned by essences. Now, you know that memories do not come with the bonuses of the Atlas passive tree, however, in this case, the memory comes with inbuilt properties that mimic the ones present in the Atlas passive tree, including essence found are 1 tier higher, and all the properties from the Crystal Resonance notable. Notably, corrupting imprisoned monsters cannot release them, and monsters imprisoned by a shrieking essence will be duplicated when released, which are both very powerful. Now, the number of imprisoned monsters is always the same, you get 5, but the number of essences imprisoning those monsters is increased for each map of the memory. So you start with 4, then you get 5, 6, 7, and finally 8 essences per monsters. It is quite a fun mechanic, to be honest, and pretty damn profitable. To be honest, the gameplay is very fun. As you can see, we can get some very nice essences. Having 8 essence in each imprisoned monsters is very good. And here, for example, we even got 2 essence of horror for a single imprisoned monsters. Now, Rogue Exile can be deadly at times, but to be honest, if you run these maps wide, and you totally can since it doesn't affect the loot, those are reasonably easy for almost any build. The best starting position for the Essence memory is, in my opinion, Strand map, because it is connected to a lot of linear good layouts such as Malformation, Graveyard, Atoll map, and Promenade. And speaking about profit, this is definitely one of the best way to farm essences. In League it is about 7.5 divines, which is very similar to what you get for farming maps with the elevated Sextant for essence, and in Standard it is possibly the best method of them all with 11 divines per hour. Let's recap this video with a quick summary of the noob traps we have learned about. Number 1. Sextants are great, especially elevated Sextants, always use them. Number 2. Remnant chance small passives are also good and you should be allocating them. Number 3. Use your remnants of corruption efficiently, do not waste them on low value essences. Number 4. Do not always sell deafening essence, sometimes shrieking are more valuable. Number 5. Before selling, remember that you can swap cheap essences with harvest for profit. Thank you for staying with me until the end of the video. If you liked my content, please subscribe and press the join button. See you in the next one.